traders. Here we are for the very next week in our series here. I guess that'd be the week of August 11th, 2008. Here you can see the NASDAQ market. Starts off with a Q. This is a weekly chart. And you can see that just what I thought would happen, happened. You had a little consolidation here on a weekly, and it took right off during this week. So here we'll look at this next step of resistance, which is right low, 47.82, as you can see here. And that's the first place we expect to start having a little problems. In other words, you see how this bar ended on the high, basically at the high of the week, which generally says that perhaps some of this positivity can carry over into the next week. But how strong it's going to be is undetermined because it's not free. Here you have lots, a good, but it's not a whole lot, but it's a decent, it's a resistance. So take that into account. Drill down to the daily. On daily, remember I told you last week, you had this this shelf here, and it exceeded the shelf, and you could get a good push all the way to the 200 period moving average, and surprise, surprise, it stopped exactly at the 200 period moving average. Now what drives what? Does news drive charts, or does charts drive the news? Absolutely, the charts drive the news. Just magically happened that this 200 period moving average and this real resistance met at the exact same place, and it ended on this day. So we don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be really hard to call. Now you're going to go right back into skill mode, because staying out of the market, because this is where you would get out of such a trade. If you had bought the Qs here, you would get out of a portion right here and then put your stop right back to where you got in. Okay, let's move on to the SPYs. Now let's take a look at the weekly first. Now here on the SPYs, you can see, just like I said, this multi-week sell-off. It would be very difficult for it to continue down. Not impossible, but very difficult. But, you know, nobody's going to be so enthused because you have these two moving averages here. You have a real resistance here. You have another real resistance here. So this week, the NYSE did not move as much as the NASDAQ market moved. We still don't know what's going to happen. Things like this can easily produce a sideways movement. So this doesn't mean that you're in long or short on a long-term type trade. Let's drill right down to the daily. And on the daily, things do look a tad bit more promising. You have these higher highs. Remember I told you last week about these higher highs been making higher lows. And you have this, basically this shelf right here. Same thing as the Qs from last week. So who knows, the NYSE might get a little boost all the way up to this 200 period moving average. Isn't it amazing how the NASDAQ did the same thing last week that this could possibly, maybe, and might do this week? Wonder how that works. Anyway, human nature is consistent. It doesn't have very far to go before you begin to take profits, just like the NASDAQ market. So you would want to take profits if you're brave enough to go ahead and go long in this market. Even though we are in a downtrend, I mean, the thing is under the 200 period moving average on the weekly. That says downtrend. If you didn't know, bears live under the 200 period moving average. Bulls live over the 200 period moving average. Very simple. Trading is very simple once you know what you're doing. Okay. So you basically would trail right under this low, which is at what, 126.38. Anything lower than that, you know, I'd be thinking about getting out. Or if you, you know, have a lot of mental strength, you could get set it anywhere here. You could even set it here if you'd like. If you really believe in American markets and you really think that things are going to go well, you could put your stop here and just hope for the best. I'm far short term more short term than that. So basically that's it for the week. I guess in the NYSE we could see a little positive movement, and the NASDAQ already played its positive movements out on the Qs. I mean, anything that is resembling a probable trade is pretty much at a standstill at this point. And this is where the pros get out, and then we go ahead and, you know, hand over the shares to the beginners and the hopers. Okay, those that hope that the stock will move through this resistance. Okay, if it consolidates again in an upward fashion, then we'll think about going long again. But, you know, new people, you know, they're buying all the time. And of course, you know, those programs, those investment programs that have to buy stocks. I mean, millions of people come to them and just throw money at them. So they have to buy this stuff. And that's why it goes up and down half the time. It's not intelligent trading the majority of the time. You know, it's forced trading. So that's what helps us make money. Well, all right. Well, you're set for the week. You're still in a downtrend. We have no idea what's going to happen now because nothing is really predictable anymore for the Qs. And the SPYs could easily get a drill right up to this 200 period moving average. So I wouldn't be looking very short in the NYSE market at all. That is a long sell-off, and it could easily reach one, both, or even exceed it a little bit, these moving averages. So little positivity here going on in NYSE, and could easily be a standstill in the NASDAQ market. And basically the NASDAQ market is null and void at this point, except for those that have taken half off the table already and are still hoping with a stop underneath. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.